From news and views, issues and opportunities, we'll have in-depth conversations with decision makers to find out what they know and what they think. I'm Rico Hizon, inviting you to join the exchange because your business is our business. Forced by the pandemic to learn from home for more than 2 years, around 28 million students troop back to classrooms nationwide. Teachers, parents, guardians, and students are excited while mindful of the risks to holding in-person classes.
Naiso na talaga ako, no? Nung pag-pray namin kasi 2 years. So, hindi madali sa online.
Makakasama ko na po yung mga kaklase ko, tsaka yung mga teacher po makakapagturo na po sa amin ng mas maayos.
Natatakot naman po. Mas okay naman po ngayong face-to-face.
And while the Philippines catches up with the rest of the world in reopening schools, the educational system finds itself grappling with a gap caused by the health crisis. For parents and guardians, the family budget has to adjust again for school transportation, allowance, fees, and materials.
Yung pang umaga po, 75 papunta, tapos pauwi pa po, iba pa po. Tapos yung pang hapon, nagsiservice na po, 800 a month.
And business is back for bookstores and school supply outlets. The outlook for educational material retailers in our C-Suite vision. School supply shops are back in business as millions of students return to in-person classes. How can the government keep prices affordable for our kababayans? Let's now have an exchange with Trade Undersecretary Ruth Castelo. Yusek, thank you so much for joining us. There are hundreds of brands and products of school supplies. What monitoring measures has the Trade Department installed to keep prices of school supplies and other goods in check?
Oh, hi, Rico. Thank you for having me. The first thing that, of course, BTI will do or does every time there's this opening of school, opening of classes, we issue the price guide for school supplies and other materials that children would normally use for the school year. So this guide is supposed to inform our consumers of how much or up to how much they can purchase this product.
So, Yusek, we have a Price Act or Republic Act number 7581. What are the rights of consumers and retailers in this law?
The Price Act says that school supplies are considered among the prime necessities that we buy for our children. So we monitor the prices and find out how much these products can be sold in the market or how much consumers should pay for these products. We have a very wide range of varieties for brands, materials, the make, and all these things. So we inform consumers of the correct prices or the most reasonable prices that they can purchase these products.
Yusek Ruth, we asked parents how much they've spent so far in this school year opening. Let's listen to them.
Mas magastos kasi nag-aarkila ako ng tricycle eh. Sa isang araw, 100 na agad yun. Papunta pabalik. Tapos baon niya pa.
May pamasahe na po eh. Back and forth may pamasahe na yung mga bata. So nung pandemic, kasi online naman yun. Ngayon kasi baon, pamasahe, obligado eh.
Yusek Ruth, ang daming gastos, no? Pamasahe, baon, tuition and fees, school bus. For our kababayans, every peso counts for their expenses for their children. So, prices of school supplies have to be reasonable and fit their budget. Yusek, what are the penalties for those selling beyond the suggested retail price?
We do not impose penalties on suggested retail prices because in school supplies, we only issue price guides. And this price guide is supposed to inform consumers of up to how much they should purchase these products. But there is a provision on profiteering as an act of illegal price manipulation in the Price Act, which says that the products should not exceed 10% of the prevailing prices for the past 3 months. So these sellers of school supplies cannot unreasonably increase beyond 10% the prices of these products.
But what if they go over 10%? Let's say they've increased it by 20 to 25%. What are the repercussions?
Anything beyond 10% would constitute profiteering already, and this is punishable under the Price Act by a fine of 5,000 pesos to 2 million pesos or penalty of 5 to 15-year imprisonment.
Yusek, for consumers who purchase school supplies, who either overbought or bought the wrong item or a defective product, what are the guidelines on exchanging or returning of goods?
Exchanging and returning goods is allowed by law, so we prohibit actually the no return, no exchange policy. They can always go back to the store and have their products exchanged, and the seller cannot refuse if this is requested by the consumer.
And I'm sure at this point, a lot of parents, guardians are still buying school supplies, no? After attending their first week of classes. What are your tips and advice for them before purchasing school supplies?
For those going back to school and those who haven't bought their school supplies yet, we issued the price guide last August, early August, so they can refer to this as their guide, so they'll know how much they should pay for the product. It varies according to quality or make or model or the volume. So they will see it there. It's all in the bulletin, and it's best that they make reference to these prices.
So, Yusek Ruth, for how long will you be monitoring prices? Right now, you are on the road, not only checking school supply prices. How long will you be monitoring textbook prices and school supply prices?
Textbook prices, maybe until a month after school opening. We'll continue making sure that retailers sell their goods only at the most reasonable prices and that they do not exceed 10%. So maybe we give it a month or two until after from the time that the school classes open this year. Is
your monitoring, Yusek, across the board from the small bookstores to the big bookstores?
Oh yes, we go as far as Divisoria because there's a lot of school supplies sold there, and also to the bookstores at the malls. We continue to monitor and see the price difference and see the quality difference, and then we provide choices to the consumer. So we advise them, we tell them through our advocacy programs where to buy these products and at how much they can buy these products. Of course, consumers will have to differentiate the quality and the make. So it's up to them. The important thing is they have choices. They have several products to choose.
Thank you so much for this school supply prices exchange. Trade Undersecretary Ruth Castello. And now here's a rundown of this week's top business stories. ABS-CBN and TV5 have agreed to delay their investment deal as the House of Representatives looks into the planned buy-in. Two former Chief Justices are set to lead the Energy Department's newly formed advisory panel to provide legal guidance on the Malampaya project and other issues concerning the gas and oil industry. They are Artemio Panganiban and Reynato Puno. And San Miguel's energy business SMC Global Power says consumers may see a 30% hike in their electric bills this October if the Energy Regulatory Commission fails to act on a petition for a temporary rate hike. And straight ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business. Are COVID-19 prevention measures enough to keep students safe in the new school year and beyond? We'll have an exchange with a school official and a member of a parent-teachers association. And how has the class reopening impacted a major school supply retailer? The managing director of National Bookstore joins us straight ahead, right here on CNN Philippines. News you can trust. Glad you're staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. The COVID-19 pandemic has set back the fight against poverty in Asia and the Pacific by at least 2 years. The Asian Development Bank says the region could have reduced extreme poverty as early as 2020 had the health crisis not happened. The multilateral lender defines extreme poverty as those living off less than $1.90 or 104 pesos per day. It explains the pandemic has made education more inaccessible, which will make it even more difficult for the poor to get out of poverty. And to get us back on track, learning loopholes need to be plugged immediately. And this poses a challenge to the Philippines, which is one of the last countries that returned to in-person classes.
Especially the Philippines, I think we expect that, yes, the delay in return is going to have unless there's these very aggressive efforts to address the problem with urgency, as Gaurav described, and aggressiveness and with resource commitments, then I think the delay thus far, any future delay will certainly affect labor productivity going forward.
ADB forecasts extreme poverty in Asia Pacific to drop below 1% only by 2030. While here at home, the economic team targets to bring down the number of poorest Filipinos to single-digit levels before President Bongbong Marcos ends his term in 2028. The country finally reopened physical classes after more than 2 years. We get an assessment on in-person learning and measures to keep students safe from COVID-19. We now have on the exchange National Parent Teachers Association's Lito Señito and University of Santo Tomas Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Cheryl Peralta. Maraming salamat po for joining us on the exchange. Cheryl, let's start off with you. What has been the rate of enrollment this school year compared to pre-pandemic levels?
For the University of Santo Tomas, I believe that our enrollment has not changed. Pre-pandemic, we had 2 years of gap because of the transition from K to 12 years of basic education to college. So essentially, when the first batch of graduates of grade 12 entered college, we have a gap in the second and the third year and so on. So right now, we have about 43,000 students enrolled in campus, and that is higher than pre-pandemic, which is around 39 to 40,000.
Wow, there's even been an increase, no, Ma'am Cheryl? But what has been the administration's what has been the administration's assessment of the first week of classes across all levels?
I think it was received very well with the students, maybe because they're also excited to get back to campus. And we've prepared really hard for accepting our students back to campus. We've been starting face-to-face classes with our health program since June of 2021. And this has helped us guide the non-health programs likewise, as well as our basic education programs in rolling out their face-to-face classes this academic year.
What about for Sir Lito? What kind of problems did parents encounter when their kids went to school this past week?
Of course, the problem is with regards to the social distancing. Na pagpasok po ng mga bata, kasi excitement kasama yung kanilang magulang. There's ang social distancing, hindi po maiwasan na nag-clog po doon sa ating gate. But hopefully, sa susunod ng mga araw, ito ay ma-address po natin. As well as, hindi po during our orientation last week, ng mga parents with regards to our school administrator, hindi po nabanggit with regards to the disinfecting of the campuses because we already have whole day, 5 days a week, classes face-to-face. But never mentioned with regards to disinfecting with our school premises as well as in the classroom. That's I think the major problems that we have so far encountered po.
So, Ma'am Cheryl, Sir Lito, we asked some parents what changes they would like to see from their child now that they are back in in-person classes.
Matuto siyang magbasa, magsulat, kasi 2 taon nag-pandemic eh. Tsaka yung social skills niya, ma-develop pa. Ngayon may mga classmate na siya at face-to-face na.
Siyempre pag nung online, mahirap po, hindi po gano'n nakikinig. Hindi po ngayon, may teacher na po. Feeling ko po mas makikinig, saka mas magpo-focus. Walang ganong laro-laro.
So, Ma'am Cheryl, we heard our parents, no? The problems between distance learning and face-to-face classes. Do you think in this school year we'll be able to narrow the learning gap?
Hopefully, but in the University of Santo Tomas, our year levels start at grade 7. So these are relatively, well, compared to elementary grade students, these students have a little bit more independence in terms of studies. I can imagine that it might be more difficult for the younger groups. But hopefully, because we recognize that the closure of schools really limited our capability to develop, especially skills-based courses or skills-based competencies. Hopefully this year, with the resumption of face-to-face classes, particularly for our laboratory courses, we'll be able to catch up and have students practice all the needed skills for them to effectively perform in the next year level or even in the workplace once they graduate.
So Sir Lito, was this a problem among many parents na nagkaroon pa ng learning gap over the past 2.5 years because of the pandemic?
Yes, there's a problem po. Kasi for the last 2 years, nasanay po sila na nasa bahay doing the modular modules, solving problems as well as mga activities. So I think the first 2 months, that will be a good test for our kids. Makita po with regards to pagbasa, reading skills, as well as the problem-solving skills. Kasi po, nasanay sa modules, as well as yung face-to-face po with regards to interaction between the learners and the teachers. And as much as, so that there's a 2 years po na learning gaps. So makikita po natin, the kindergarten, especially the public, the kindergarten, like kindergarten, 2019. So by this time, it's already in grade 3. So it's hard to adjust for that kid from kindergarten outright to grade 3. So nasanay po siya na with the kindergarten, kasama yung magulang. And then ultimately, grade 3 siya agad, iwanan ng magulang. That is the predicament now with regards to our kids.
All right.
2 years, kumbaga 2 years, para bang na-accelerate sila from such 2019 to 2022-23 school year po.
So, Ma'am Cheryl, with thousands of students now enrolled at the University of Santo Tomas and the COVID pandemic still with us, how strict was the school in implementing health and safety protocols?
Well, we're very strict in implementing these because the University of Santo Tomas has programs that have been certified by the CHED Safety Seal. So CHED has released guidelines for which academic institutions, higher education institutions can apply to be certified for the Safety Seal and therefore as proof that they are complying with the minimum public health standards. In the university, we monitor the vaccination status of our students and staff. We have them screened for temperature as well as the health declaration forms upon entry to the campus. And there are orientations being done for students and staff by our health service so that they are aware of the health protocols that we are implementing, especially when people develop symptoms, what to do, how to report, and then they are monitored by our medical specialists in the health service so that they are referred to the proper medical services that they require.
Thank you to you both for this back-to-school exchange. University of Santo Tomas Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Cheryl Peralta, and National Parent Teachers Association's Lito Senieto. And more to come on the exchange, where your business is our business. It's back to school for students and back to business for some retailers. We'll look at sales trends with National Bookstore right here on CNN Philippines. News you can trust. Welcome back right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Classrooms and school supply stores alike welcome back students for the new academic year. How has the pandemic and now the return to in-person classes turned out for business? Let's have an exchange with National Bookstore Managing Director Sandra Ramos Padilla. Sandra, great to have you with us on the show. How did the COVID-19 pandemic impact your business? Was there a drop in sales, closure of some branches?
Well, of course, like any other retailer here in the Philippines, with the extended lockdown, we were affected by the long lockdown. In the early part of March to May 2020, we were not even allowed to open as our business was not categorized as essential. But thankfully, it was recognized that school supplies was essential, so we were allowed to open in the succeeding lockdowns. And of course, with the 2 years that our students in the Philippines had to go through Zoom classes or online classes or modular classes, they weren't really buying school supplies as they used to when they had to go to face-to-face school. So that also impacted our business.
So has the business now turned around with in-person classes now, Sandra?
Well, we were very busy last weekend with the opening of majority of classes on August 22. So people, I guess they had no notebooks left, so people were stocking up on various school supplies like notebooks, pad papers, pencils, crayons, ball pens, so things that they may not have needed or had during their online schooling. But now, of course, they have to replenish those stocks and they're back in National Bookstore.
But Sandra, how did this health crisis over the past 2.5 years also shift and pivot your business?
Well, we opened various channels to allow our customers to still buy things from National Bookstore without necessarily going to the store. So definitely we strengthened our .com, our online www.nationalbookstore.com, and we listed most of our merchandise in our National Bookstore Lazada and National Bookstore Shopee shops, and people have learned to order there. And if they didn't want to order online, you can text to order various stores and pay by GCash or other modes of payment. We also opened the in-demand channels like Metromart, Picaroo, Food Panda, and soon we will be on Grab. I think some of these purchase methods will still be continued to be used, even if people can already go to the malls. And our malls also open some channels like SM Malls, and then the Ayala Zing allows shoppers to buy online.
All right.
So from the tenants.
So the business has already pivoted online, but what is the difference in terms of sales with parents, guardians, and students going to your brick and mortars, to your physical stores, vis-a-vis sales online? Is it a balance, or are we seeing now more online sales?
Well, definitely online grew. It was one of the largest growing branches of National Bookstore during the last 2 years. But of course, it doesn't replace visits to 230 plus stores nationwide. But I think you can complement shopping in both channels. Like, you may want to choose some items yourself and go to the store, or you may need something that you know you want already and buy online. So at least we offer both those channels.
So, Sandra, it is just the first week of classes, and I'm sure a lot of parents and guardians and students still want to buy their school supplies this coming weekend. What are your tips and advice for consumers before purchasing school supplies and textbooks?
Oh, usually we want to be ready before the first day of school, right? But of course, teachers may give new lists of requirements when they meet face-to-face. So you can just keep on going to National Bookstore. We have prepared for this back-to-school season, and you can buy additional notebooks or things to help your child organize their test papers or homeworks. You can have a file folder per subject or an accordion file. Do that, or they'll find out, the students will find out that they need something like color-coded highlighters. So we have sets of highlighters now with like 25 colors, things like that. Or you may find that you need a bag or a pencil case. So things like that. I mean, you don't have to buy everything right away, but you can keep going back to National Bookstore as the year goes along to see what you need. There may be a specific math notebook or binder notebook.
And of course, these school supplies and textbooks also have to fit into their budgets. What is your outlook for the textbook and school supply industry this 2022? Sandra, are you expecting a full recovery?
Hopefully, there will be an increase in purchases in these categories, because especially with face-to-face school, because the needs and also going back to office, because the needs will be increasing and you will need to replenish these consumables. I mean, there's really joy in finding the right pen for you, or finding the right pen for the right notebook or occasion. So, you can do that in the bookstore. So I think that after this back to school, people will keep coming back to the bookstore to replenish their stocks or discover new items.
Thank you so much for this School Supply Industry Exchange. National Bookstore Managing Director, Sandra Ramos Padilla. And this is the exchange. We make sense of the facts and the figures and the ups and downs of the business cycle, because your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Thanks for watching CNN Philippines. News you can use. News you can trust.